Nice little slick with that. Hello and welcome back to MAF2 UK, and it is the 2nd of January 2024, and where am I? I am at Baden Hall and I'm on Glover's Lake, and I've got 3 nights here. The lake itself is quite flooded, the swims are all flooded, so I've had to move back off the bank. I'll show you all about that later. As you can hear, it's absolutely pouring down. The weather's give it bad for today, showers tomorrow, and the next day easing off a bit, sunny spells, that sort of thing. So the weather's not perfect, the swims aren't perfect, but I've got 3 nights and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. Now, I've never fished Glover's Lake before. There's 2 of us on at the moment. There's Phil, I think his name is. He's middle for diddle. I'm on peg 1, and I've got about 120 yards to fish out to. Now, not too much of a problem for me this year, because 2 things. 1, you're allowed to use bait boats on here, and I've had a good look out so far. I haven't seen anything. I'm not fishing yet. I've not seen any signs of any fish yet. Before I chose my peg 100%, I sort of spent a bit of time having a look. I've been told that it's usually peg 1 or 8, but recently they've had a couple come out of the middle, which is where the other chap is. So we had the draw, the chap chose the middle, I chose peg 1. Now then, I'm going to send my bait boat out in a minute. Now, I've had it repaired, so it's the first time I've used it since France a couple of years ago. I'm going to send that out, I'm going to check out the depths, check out any features that I can see with a bait boat. I've got a fish finder on it too. And then I'm going to use my new rods and reels. And I didn't buy them for Christmas, I bought them about a month ago, but I haven't had a chance to use them yet. And what have I bought? I have bought the Fox Horizon X6, and I've got some new Fox reels to go with that. I think they're XC1200s. The rods are 13 foot, and what I noticed a couple of times last year when I went fishing, with the rods I got at the moment, which are a Shimano Tribal Extreme, I couldn't quite get out to the ranges that I wanted to get to. I think I could probably get 22, 23 wraps absolute most, and I was dropping short of a few fish. So I decided, after all the work that I've done at home, and I have been busy, that I'm going to treat myself to some rods and reels, and that's what I've done. So they're out there getting wet at the moment, breaking my heart already. I've got various few baits to try. Yes, Guru baits, and some others as well. So I'm not stuck with just using Guru baits. So I've got a few naturals. I've got some snails. I know that they like naturals in the winter, and I didn't have the chance to get some maggots or worms, which is a shame. Just didn't have the time to do it. Various different baits to try. Absolutely pouring down. We tried Ben Nevis again this year. Again this year the weather beat us. Yeah, the visibility was down to 0, so you couldn't see anything, so sacked it. No, not worth it. Still can't see any signs of fish. I've set my bivvy up so I can check my swim out constantly. Any signs, any giveaways, I should be able to see it straight away. So that's one good thing at least. The rain is driving into the bivvy a little bit, but again, I want to be able to see the waters. In winter fishing, getting the slightest glimpse of a fish can mean the difference of a blank or not. So that's why I'm not looking at the camera so much. I'm looking out there over my shoulder. I'll show you a picture of that now. And well, let's stop waffling. Let's get working.
20 minutes later.
Check the battery in the receiver. Never check the battery in the actual device. Flat as a witch's. So I won't be doing any fish finding this weekend. However, good news, the bait boat works perfectly. it's just a battery that I didn't do. Secondly, I had a first cast with my new rods. Bearing in mind, on the last time I went out any decent distance, as far as I could get was 22, 23 wraps. I had a first cast, cautious. Second cast, pushed it a little bit further. Third cast, give it a bit of welly. 30 wraps. 30 wraps. Incredible. I'm not saying that's super duper far. What I'm saying is it's already 7 or 8 wraps further than I could get before, and I wasn't giving it my absolute everything. I wasn't using certain techniques. I just wellied it and I got 30 wraps. I'm absolutely over the moon with that. It's just exactly what I wanted, so I couldn't be more chuffed. I'm not bothered about the fish finder because I'm going to be casting anyway. Wow, maybe use the boat, but I certainly won't be doing any PVA. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm absolutely over the moon. Shame about that battery. I always carry a spare, but it was a couple of years ago since I last used the boat, and I think I must have used my spare up then. And the most frustrating thing is I've probably got 3 or 4 at home sat on the shelf ready to go. Always something in it, always something. They may have some in the shop, who knows. What I do know is the water level is still rising, because when I put my pod out first it was on the water's edge, and it's now 2 inches in, so it's the water level's still coming up. I don't really like that. This rain really needs to stop. Good news, I guess, that there is a back gate just there, so if it does get to a silly point and we can't go back that way because it was really close earlier, then they'll probably let us out the back gate if it gets too much. Anyway, look at this. I know, not much you can see, not much. I'm not going to put that camera out. I do have my GoPro with me, so when I do go out and do some casting or whatever fishing I'm doing, whether it's a bait boat or whatever, I can actually do that with my GoPro. That can get wet, not bothered, but that one can't. Right, choice of baits. What shall I use first? I think I know where I'm going to go. Far left hand corner anyway, one down in the margins halfway down, and then I'm going to go one middle fitted in the middle of the lake. There you go, that's what I'm going to try. Still no signs of fish yet. Plenty of ducks diving. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe you could use the ducks where they're diving. Who knows? I don't know. I'm trying my best watermanship here, but I'm not getting any feedback. You know, on a winter maybe look for cloudy water, but because it's rising, it's not clear. It's quite cloudy all over the place. So, you know, if the fish are feeding in a certain area and it's clear water everywhere else, cloudy water. So I can't see anything. There's no signals yet. I really don't mind, and I really don't care. Let's get some. I'll get baited up. I'll show you the rigs, the stiff rigs, and then we'll go for it. Okay. So this one's going out is a hinge stiff rig, just on a inline lead. Again, nothing fancy, nothing super duper about it. So pretty much the same as last time, however a lead clip with stiff rig, hinge stiff rig on it. And I've got a little bit of PVA mesh to go on with a few goodies in there, but I won't do that until the very last second. And it's slow melt PVA as well, so hopefully it gives me the time to get it out in the water. Happy with that. Middle for diddle. I think that'll settle a couple of times yet before that's done. Jesus, this weather. There's nothing left of the swim, it's gone all the way up. Don't know how far you can see, but yeah, it's gone all the way up. That one other chappie there bivvying away. Whew. One more to do. I do like the rails. I've tried to get some footage. I put the GoPro on. I don't know if the angle was right. I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen it yet. Rather than just videoing me in a bivvy. So, I've got 3 rods out. You're allowed to this time of year. All hinge stiff rigs. All of them have got a mulberry on it. And all have a little packet of goodness. I took one out, extreme range, the far corner with my bait boat. And I cast the other 2 out, and I'm more than happy with that. One's middle for diddle, and the other one's sort of halfway over to the left a bit. Not quite sure where the original margins were. I know the water level's risen at least a couple of feet now, probably about 4 inches since I've been here. So I'm not quite sure. I didn't want to go too tight to the bank or the water line at the moment. Does that make any sense? I'm half tempted to close the door because my rods are out now, but I still want to keep my eye and see if I can see any fish at all. I'm going to use all the light, and when it goes dark, fair enough, but whilst I've got the light, I want to make sure that if I see anything, or if anything's in this area, I get to see it. It's not cold, but it's wet, so I'm currently dry myself in front of the fire. Now, you could say I'm being a bit of a wuss, which is a fair shout. Yes, bit of a wuss maybe. Oh, and yes, of course, plenty of ventilation. I can still see the lake through the letterbox. So, and you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I may end up taking this jacket off because it warms up in here so quick. This bivvy is a double lined bivvy. It's a cotton lining on the inside of it, so there's no technical winter skin for it. So the outer skin is it, that's it, no outer skin, but this inner liner just retains the heat, so it warms up really quickly in here. But obviously with a gas burner, you got to make sure you ventilate. No ventilation, and then you'll go to sleep and never wake up. What's going on down there? The rain has eased slightly, just slightly, but it's still raining. But yeah, nice and warm in here. I'll be taking this jacket off soon. So it is coming up to 5 o'clock. Obviously it's dark now. I haven't seen any sign of any fish all day. not to worry, I don't mind. That's 5 hours literally staring at that lake, and not in 5 hours I've seen nothing. And I've been looking down the entire lake too. I don't know how mate he's got on down further from me, but I don't mind. What I am pleased about is that now I've stopped moving in and out of the bivvy constantly. I have actually managed to tidy it up a bit and dry it out a little bit and mop things down, sacrificial cloth, and dry the ground sheet down. You can't avoid it. You just can't avoid getting water in your bivvy, even if you got a raincoat and you religiously take it off before you get in the bivvy. Or if you follow those rules, yes, most of your kit will stay dry, but it's gonna get wet. You are gonna get water in your bivvy, and it's off the clothes that you've been wearing. You can't hang it up out there, can you? So one of them, innit? One of them. So there's no bait review this time round. Now bear in mind, I keep looking over there because I can hear a motorbike and I think it's all over the road over there. Bear in mind, I was asked to review the bait. I was asked to look at it and give my thoughts on it. Some people sort of said, all you do is talk about the bait. Well, yes, that's what I was asked to do. And I know sometimes it looks like or feels like you're selling your soul to the devil when you do that sort of stuff, but it's no different than advertising a lamp or talking about a lamp or my new rods. It's no different whatsoever. You're going to show them and you've got an opinion on it. Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? So, yeah, there were a couple of comments about talk too much about the bait, but at the end of the day, the video was called bait review. So I'm not surprised I talked about the bait quite a bit. But most of the comments were nice, and thank you very much for responding. It was good. I enjoyed that session, I really did. I needed it. I really did need that session. I'm going to enjoy this one too, and purely and simply, it's just because when I get back on Friday, I'm probably going to go and have a beer, maybe Friday night or Saturday night in Lancaster with a mate, and then it's the weekend and back to work. And I'm not looking forward to that because I'm not enjoying the job at the moment. I'm just not enjoying it. It's just problem after problem. Not my problem, but they are my problem. I didn't create the problems. But there you go. I know this. I can't show you anything else. I would love to show you some fishing. I can't do it. So I'm just enjoying it. You'll notice that I'm down to my t-shirt because this little heater that I've got, it's now lasted over an hour. One of these, where's the canisters? One of the canisters. So one of them type of canisters in it. That's lasted an hour, probably half an hour full blast, and then it starts to dwindle down, and it's still kicking out plenty of heat, enough heat for me to be in this bivvy. I've still got my ventilation obviously, but yeah, I can be quite comfortable in here. I've cleaned all the floor down now, and I'm quite happy. I've dried a bit of clothes off. I've dried my bait boat receiver off too, because that was I don't like getting that wet. It cost me a fortune to get it fixed last time round. What I have noticed, because it's winter, some lights out there from the factory or whatever that is across the road, and some of them are different lights. Good markers for casting at night. Good markers. Probably wouldn't see them in the summer because of the foliage, but at this moment in time I've got an orange marker, a triple light and a single light that I could cast to. See how we get on tomorrow. I bear that in mind. Oh, he's fishing. Right, leave it to it. Just had to bring my rods back another 2 foot. Water level keeps rising, so hopefully, even though it's still persistently raining, it should be okay now for the rest of the evening. But if I had where I started off, my rods would be underwater now, so it's it's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah, so I will check last thing before. The rain is due to stop later this evening, but it's one thing I am conscious about. I'm not bothered about them being underwater. That isn't really an issue to me. I know the fish, I know the alarms are ATTs, and they will go underwater. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to put my rods and my brand new reels submerged. No, thank you. And I'm loving them, by the way. I'm loving them. Loving them. The lake level has continued to rise throughout the evening, so I had to move my rods back yet again last night. The lake is completely brown now for all the flood water. Not really a problem. You just need to make sure I got enough stinky food in. But I've just had a quick walk out to see if I could see anything. First light, the sun's just come out, or up. I think I can see some fizzing. It's not easy recognisable because there's like a scum tide mark as well. So whether I'm looking at a little bit of that on its own or whether it's actually a bit of fizzing, I couldn't tell you. But you can see various little areas out there, little patches in there. It's about mid-water. It's not near the edges, it's literally mid-water of my swim. So it may be worth a try. Going mid-water for today, because that's the only sign I've seen some potential fizzing. It may be getting a real stinky bait out to mid-water, 3 in a row, I think, all the same distance. What I might do is have a cup of tea, let the sun come up a little bit more, change my rigs over to some naturals. I've got some snails and some hemp, and I might make 3 snail rigs, or I might just put 2 snail rigs on and leave one pop up. I don't know. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to play it. But yeah, a quiet night. Apart from the trains every 20 minutes. How the hell you sleep here, I don't know. I don't even think if you was to have too much alcohol you could sleep amongst that lot. It is a noisy place and trains are aggressive. You know, you would expect to... No, it's... really aggressive trains. But yeah, there you go. I'm stood outside. Hooray! I thought I was going to be bivvy bound for 3 days. My worst. I hate that. I hate being bivvy bound. But yeah. Mid-water, 3 rigs in a row. I got nothing to lose. The margins have just gone. Wherever they were originally, I never knew where they were. And I mean, you can see the edge, but it was that the beginning of more reeds. I don't know. Let's try a different tactic for the next 24 hours. See how we get on. So I've just had a chat with my neighbour, Phil. Phil the fish. Nice to meet you, mate. Phil was fishing with zigs yesterday, but neither of us have seen any signs of any fish at all over the last 20 hours, say. So we've not seen anything. I've kept my eye religiously on this water just to try and see if I can get anything or see anything, and I can't. There's no signs. So he's not had a knock on zigs. He's fishing in slightly deeper water than I am. I've got to reel in a minute anyway because I need to go and use the ablutions, but when I put the rods back out, I think I'm going to go. I'm not going to try zigs because I've not seen anything on the surface of the water yet. I'm still going to go on the bottom, but I will try the snails, and I will try all 3 in a row, I think. Tied together, 3 in a row. See how we go with that. Bit of flavour. Because the water now is completely muddy, whereas usually this is quite gin clear water, but at this moment in time, with the constant intake from all the rivers, it's just one of them. I think you're going to need flavour and stink to try and if you're going to stand a chance. I think it's still a bit cloudy for zigs. I don't know. It's just trial and error, isn't it? I'd like to stand here and tell you that I know everything there is to know about fishing and I know exactly what I need to do in certain situations, and I don't. It's a guessing game. It's trying to see what works. So I've had a go with my mulberry pop-ups and a little bit of parcels of bait with them. No joy. So I'll try something else, and if that fails, maybe I will try a zig or 2. I don't know. It's all about trial and error. Still got another 2 nights. I'm not giving up on the water. I've come down here specifically 3 nights to fish, and that's what I'm going to do. The conditions aren't perfect by far, but they are fishable. And as long as it doesn't bloody rain again, then I might have a better time at it. But I've got the space with that bivvy, so that's one big beauty of having such a big bivvy, is that even though you can be bivvy bound, which is horrible, that there is the room in there to spread out a little bit. I had the heater on last night and dried all my clothes, which is really good. Yeah, so tactics: reel in, use the ablutions, and then try 3 different spots. And I've got absolutely nothing to lose by trying it. So I've just made up 3 new braid hook links. I'll probably use them on a PVA bag if I can, if the weather keeps off. I'm going to cast all 3 mid-water, so I'm not going tight to any bank or anything like that now. So it's just going to be these 3 mid-water in a line. What I've noticed is that this PVA bag system lead, sometimes that lead gets stuck in there. So what I've had to do, I don't know if you probably won't be able to see, but I've actually re-drilled these a little bit wider so they don't get stuck. I mean, they are a little bit sticky, but not to a point of causing a problem. They need to slide off, don't they, if there's a drama with the rig. Whereas one I haven't prepared, it's too tight. It won't slide off. That's absolutely no good whatsoever. So a little bit more drilling to do on one more, but the other 2 are nice and loose now. That maybe a little bit stiff, that one, but I just need to work on this one and then we'll be right. I know it's not necessarily quick change, but I like the support that shrink tube gives on that joint. I like the way it ties everything in nice and tight. No chance of that coming off. Yeah, I just think that's a better way of doing it. And I like protecting the knot as well that I've put on for the loop. I don't know. Nothing new, it's just I prefer doing it that way. It will pull off, and sometimes you can get it back on again. So for the time it takes to do it, I don't really have a problem doing it. In my mind, it's a better system. It secures it better, holds it better. Get a nice little slick with that. Working, even though it's pouring down. I'm actually getting the rods out there, but it is working. That system is working. Whether it works fishing wise, that's a different kettle of fish. Hey, excuse the pun. Pocket PVA. Let's give this one a bit of welly over to that corner, I think. So I've got 2 in a line over there. I might just lob this one over there. Let's see where we go with it. Still getting used to the rods, so I don't know. I'm very conscious not to pull the bait, so I take it a little bit steadier at the cost of getting soaking. But the line doesn't sink that well. This Nash Bullet, it's not sinking that quickly. Just very conscious. I can see the little slick out there where I've landed my bait, which is good. There we go. Get in there now. Takes a bit of time. I just can't pull too fast with those 2.5 ounce leads on. Have to be careful. One of the reasons I actually went for this particular type of rod and reel is because my pod are prefixed. This is a homemade pod, as probably most of you know, and these are designed for slim rods, so I've got no choice. If I was to get a bigger rod or thicker base, then I would need to either widen them out or do something with them at least, and I don't want to do that. So it was one of the key factors of buying those rods, and also for the fact they cast like a beaut. So I'm really pleased with them. I really like the reels too. I'll have a talk about that in a second when I get out of this bloody rain. Jesus. Acky cack. Little slick out there, don't know if you can see it. Back in the bivvy shot again. I hate doing that too. Right, so, thing I didn't realise was my snails and... I'll show you actually. Snails and hemp seed. What I didn't realise, perhaps I should have thought about it, but didn't, was they're not PVA friendly. So when I tried it with my first bag, and straight away it started dissolving the bag. So what I did, I toned it down with the Guru's bag system jungle mix, which is a winter bait anyway. So basically just covered everything in powder and the little pellets. So the bag is consists of hemp, snails and jungle formula. Or jungle mix. Jungle mix. I always get the names wrong. So that's how I managed to get away with it. But I can imagine if you was to make them up overnight and get them ready for the morning, by the time you got to your bags there'd be nothing left of them. They would have eaten through the bags. So that's how I did it. And then I put the PVA bags in my pocket, walked out, took it out last second and cast it. That's the only way I could do it. I'm middle for diddle now. 3 rods in the middle of the lake, like I said I was going to do. All of them on snails, a little bit of hemp, a little bit of pellet and stick mix with it. Not a lot of food, but I am literally fishing for bites. No sign of any fish yet. That's all I can do. I don't know what else I can do in this scenario. A flooded lake, the water clarity's gone down to 0. I've switched over to flavours rather than visual. Yeah. They're all bottom baits, by the way, as well. Even though Phil was fishing a zig, you know, if this fails, maybe I will. I've brought it with me because I did see on one of the videos that this is a predominant zig lake in the summer. So, you know, who knows? Who knows? Time will tell. If I pull one out on Snell, I'm going to be well chuffed because of the complete change of tactic. But I'd be well chuffed if I caught a fish anyway in this time of year. So you can. It sounds derogatory, but you can only be fishing for one fish. And even though I'm here for 3 days, that still can only be one fish. You know, there is a lucky chance if it comes across it. But as we all know, you have to be in the right place to start with. And as much as I look, and as much as I got this lake to myself, I couldn't tell you what that is. I can't see any signs of any fish on the surface. So, what do you do? What do you do? Take your best shot, don't you? And these are my best shots. interesting. I like this guy. Very interesting. Shit fisherman, but very interesting. Now, I did say on the GoPro I was going to talk about the reels and the difference between the two. Now, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been fishing with the Shimano Ultegra 1400s, and I didn't really like them. I couldn't get used to them, and I had a massive problem with the line guards failing, breaking, having to be replaced. And ever since then, the line always got round behind the spool, and it used to do my head in. Now, initially you could put that down to human error and the fact that I'm getting used to the reels, which I would accept that normally as an excuse. However, 4 years later, I'm still having the same problem with those reels. Now, which is a pity, because I got rid of my Shimano bait runners, which I really liked. I really liked those bait runners, and I got on with them really well. But I thought the big pit reel upgrade would be better, so I got the Ultegras. Now, I did the clutch upgrade, and I did a video about that. Early on there's a video of me upgrading the clutch in the Ultegras, and that made a massive difference to the reel, but it still didn't stop the problem of the line guard failing and then the line going behind the reels, and I just wasn't happy with it. So the fact I was buying 3 new rods, and the fact that I've seen these reels in action with somebody from Fox who I was fishing next to on the Blogger Social, I thought I would give them a try as well. And it's a huge difference. I really, really like those reels. I've had not one single problem so far. Now, by now, if I was using my Ultegras, I would have had a liner frap, and it had gone round the back at some point in the last 24 hours. It would have happened at least once. It hasn't happened at all, and the line is laying perfectly on those spools, and I really do like the reels. This isn't an advert for the reels. I'm just telling you, it's the truth. The difference between the two reels is shocking, and I mean that. I do mean that. I'm really surprised, and I'm really pleased I've got them. So it's a big thumbs up for me for those reels, because almost instantaneously I've gotten used to them, and I like that. Even the action with the bail arm, it's just, you know, when you fold the bail arm over ready for casting, well, sometimes the bail arm to get the right angle, I had to unclip it and move the bail arm back a bit to clip it round so it got the right angle, otherwise it wouldn't fold over at the right place. Now it's just not a problem. It just folds back, cast, click, good to go. Now, there is the line drag system. They say it's one full turn. It's not one full turn to lock it down. It's more than that. So regardless of what anybody says to you on any adverts or anything you see advertising those particular type of reels, it's a little bit more, but it's not a lot more. So I don't really mind. And I'm not going to upgrade that because I don't feel it's necessary. I feel it's absolutely fine to use what I've got. So from a reel point of view, I'm over the moon. And from a rod point of view, I'm over the moon. I'm quite happy with that right now. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So yeah, it's not an advert, it's just a fact. It's just how I feel about it. There you go. I take my fish finding very seriously. I've got the entire lake to fish. I can move if I want. I can go anywhere I want in this lake. But can I see anything? Can I? Every time I do think I see something, it's usually a diving duck. As much as it would be a buggerance to move, I wouldn't hesitate. Because I'm here for the fish, not to relax. I'm here to fish. Relax, but in a working type kind of way. Nothing. Nothing. I've also been keeping my eye on the reeds. Because on floodwater like this, it's not unknown for the carp to come into the reeds and pull the naturals off the reeds. It's quite a common thing. But I've not seen any of that either. which is why I've gone middle for diddle, because it's deeper in the middle. Only by a few foot, but it is deeper. So if they're not on the surface, they're not in the margins, I can't see any signs of any in the margins, perhaps they're mid-water, in the middle. Just need to see one fish. So I've got the binos so I can see down the other side of the lake. I knew when I was booking that there was only 1 or 2 people on this week. So I brought them just in case I got, because I knew it was quite a long lake, I got the option to move. So you can see here the water still coming in from the river over there. So it's still coming in. Now I also kept noticing stuff floating out into the lake like that. Oop, no, there are we, like that. Now I've realised what it is. It's because the water levels increased that high, the birds can actually get to the bulrushes and pull the seeds off the bulrushes, and that's what they're doing. The other reason I wanted to come up here was I wanted if I could see a little bit more about the lake. See if I could maybe spook a fish that was coming in into the margins, I say, but I've not managed to spook anything, not seen anything. So no, nothing, no reeds moving. I do like the lake. It's somewhere I would definitely come again. Obviously, slightly better conditions hopefully next time. But yeah, it was somewhere I'd come again. Plenty of water. And you can use a bait boat. So you can have a play as well. Yeah. Yeah, I like it, yeah. Oops. Camera angle's all a bit skew. I thought when I moved or put my bivvy where it was, I might have been a little bit too far away from the rods, but it was definitely the sensible thing to do. And I didn't fancy bivvying on that bank, to be perfectly honest. Glad I didn't, because if I'd have moved my bivvy onto that bank, I'd have been stepping out into the water. The water is starting to drop back a bit now, because that post number 1 was completely covered, and at its worst case last night, the end of the rods there, the end of the pod, that was in water, so it's dropped about 2 inch at the moment, so it's gone back a couple inches. Move. That's been a good bivvy, that. Yeah, I'm just stretching my legs really. Nothing worse than being sat down all the time. There's nothing I can do fishing wise. I'm pretty much there. Car needs a clean, that's for sure. Now that the rain has stopped, I feel like I want to do something. I feel like I need to do something, but I don't know what I could do. My baits are out, they've only been out a few hours. I'm not going to change anything yet. I may make some more PVA bags up, and if the weather does actually stay off and it stops raining completely, I may go back out on the extremes again, take the bait boat out with a bit of bait, not a lot of bait, but a bit of bait, back out into the far margin. We'll see, but I just need to be patient instead of feeling that I need to do something. I want to be able to be fishing harder, but I don't know how I could possibly do that. Does that make any sense? I'm keen to do something, but I don't know what it is I could do. Tonight's dinner is chicken tikka masala with Peshwani nams, which I'm just waiting for them to warm up. Very nice indeed. Just starting to lose the light now. I'm going to keep the baits as they are. I'm not going to change anything now. I'm going to keep those snails on, and I'll change them first thing in the morning. But that's it. I'll take it through the night, I think. Right, good morning. I've just had my daily visit from the bailiff, and this time I bumped into somebody I used to watch on YouTube, Mark Bailey. How you doing, Mark?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And
Dan.
Dan. Dan's obviously, well, you're both here full time, I take it?
Yeah, full time.
Yeah. Did I meet you when I came on the first day? It was you, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's been difficult fishing, hasn't it?
Very difficult, a lot of water.
Yeah, just Mark used to do a lot of bushcraft videos, and my early stuff, I was always out and about in my hammock and everything. I used to watch Mark, and we used to like comment on each other's videos and that. So it's really nice to meet you at long last.
It was a pleasure when you popped your head out to see who you was.
Yeah, so go on then. I've been trying pop-ups, I've tried bottom baits. What's my next option?
Conditions like this, open prey I think, but bottom baits, yellows, washed out pinks tend to do
Yeah,
well.
I've been using mulberries.
Yeah.
Washed out mulberries.
If the water's a bit clear, the zigs have been doing okay.
Right, yeah, it has cleared a little bit from yesterday, so I was thinking, you commented earlier that zigs may be a way forward.
Yeah, black foam. Black.
White. All right,
Black.
okay, I've got some white.
Well, black I've always tended to find even flies. Coloured water, dirty water, light conditions, dull conditions. Black's always something that always gets picked up. Where white, the colour of the water can sometimes mottle it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But black's always seems something which seems to be more visible as after it seems than something white. So.
Right.
But that's what the lads have been using down on the quarry. And
Any joy on the quarry?
haven't been round yet, so that's
Right,
next one now. But there wasn't anything off yesterday, but with the conditions being as they are, then it's hard water anyways.
Yeah, it is a hard water. Yeah, I knew that one. Like I said earlier, I knew that when I came here that this isn't a runs water.
No.
It's January. The chances are slim, but it's all part of the fun, isn't
But
it?
if you do get something, it's worth the
Exactly, it's worth the effort.
worth the trip out.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for your tips. Really nice to meet
And
you.
you.
And thanks for your heads
I'll be
up
down
as
for a
well.
brew in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Come down. The kettle's always on if you want a brew.
Nice one.
All right.
See you later,
Cheers.
mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cool. So as recommended, I've got my first zig, which is a white barbless zig, insect simulating type thingy-majig. Technical term, that. On a 3 foot as well, as recommended again. So I'm going to put all 3 on for a few hours, I think, while the sun's out. Make the most of the sunny weather. There we go, typical Zigger liner, black foam, pretty standard stuff. So the third zig is another black foam, but the Zigger liner is the other way around. See that? So 3 zigs, 3 different types of presentation, 1 white, 2 black. There you go. And what you'll notice when I'm casting out this, that just before the lead hits the water, I'll grab the line. That way it'll untangle the zig and flick it forward, so it gives me better chance for it not to be tangled up. It's always a gamble with zig fishing, that it's, you know, when casting out quite a distance, because you don't know whether it's tangled or not. One of the ways to prevent that is to literally cut the line and it flicks the bait forward, or the zig forward. Let's give it a go. Just gotta wait for the ducks to get out of the way. Go on, bugger off. That's a good cast. Hold it now. There. Hopefully now that should have flicked that presentation further out. It's a good range, that. And it's actually right where the ducks are messing. I don't know what that big bang was, but I do know there's a military place around here, because we used it in 2007, 2006 for training for Iraq. So I know there is a training area around here. I think it's just over there. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, we came here for training. Well, actually, I was doing the training. I was a sergeant major. Stand by your beds. Water levels dropped about another foot. It's definitely a foot lower than it was yesterday. The clarity of the water has also picked up a bit as well, so it's not as muddy as yesterday. You have to remember that this is a specimen water. It's not a runs water by any means, and you can fish a couple of seasons here without catching a fish. So if I was to pull one out of this water, 1, I'd be extremely lucky, and 2, I'd have done my hard. I would have earned the bugger too. But people can fish here for quite a few times. I was having a chat with the bailiff this morning. You can come here time and time again and not catch anything, but when you do, you catch a good fish, which is, you know, is equally important, is it? I mean, I like catching fish, and you can go to runs waters, but they're not always runs waters as well, as you can tell with my other previous sessions. But no, for me to walk away from here without a fish, I'm not being defeatist in any way, shape, form or fashion, because I'm still trying, I'm still fighting. But if I walk away from it not catching a fish, I've not got egg on my face at all. Not in the slightest. This is a tough water. It's meant to be. It's a specimen water. So I could get lucky. And it is January. So my intentions for the rest of the day is to continue with the zigs. I can move them around or adjust them if I feel the need to. A liner would be good. At least I know I've got fish moving in and around if I get the odd beep or two from a liner, so that would be good. When it comes to last light, I'll bring the zigs in and I'll send a boat out, extreme range, as tight to the bank as I can for the last overnight shift. I do now know that the bank over there is the original bank, and it doesn't step down or concertina in any way. It's about 2 or 3 foot deep, up tight, and then it drops down to about 5, and I think it's 7 in the middle. But I'll get a bit tighter out to the bank now it's stopped raining, and I'm not going to get everything pissed wet through. But yeah, my last 24 hours, that's my intentions. Zigs for the rest of the day. Go back onto bottom baits at night. Pop up. I'll have a mixture between pop up and ground baits. I'll use the Bait Guru baits that I've got with me, and all their stinks and everything. I'll give that a try as well for the last night. Yeah, I'm still enjoying it. It's great to see Mark. I love watching Mark's videos. It's Mark Bailey, He does bushcraft, or used to. He hasn't put anything out for quite some time, and I just said to him then, how come you've not put anything out? He went, life takes over a little bit, and I totally understand what he's saying, because I'm of the same ilk. But yeah, Mark has a really good persona when he does his videos, the way he talks. He's like a teacher. You can't help but listen. Very good, very good. Yeah, I did like his videos, and I used to comment on them, and he would comment back, and vice versa, he'd comment on my videos as well. But I don't do so much bushcraft now, as you know. It's just time. So yeah. Better day today. Don't know about the pressure. I don't know if it's high pressure or low pressure. I couldn't tell you. I don't know about that stuff. I guess I should do. But if I'm fishing, I'm fishing. I don't get to choose whether it's high pressure or low pressure or not. I get the dates that I get to go fishing. It is what it is when I go. So although it's nice if it's high or low, it's irrelevant to me. I can't adjust my fishing to the air pressures. I can only adjust my fishing to what time I've got. Just catching the last of the sun. Well, I can. I've even opened up the bivvy. Oh, I did tell you what I did see. Somebody had the same bivvy as me. I seen it on Facebook last night. 80-mile-an-hour winds destroyed it, flattened it. Which I can see that. These are big bivvies, and when you compare them to, say, a Nash Titan, something like that, which are absolutely sturdy as a rock, these aren't so sturdy. So although they do take a bit of hammering, which I have been out in strong winds with them, I can't imagine an 80-mile-an-hour wind that's going to survive it. So that chap who lost his bivvy, there's only one positive from that, mate. At least you can buy a new bivvy now. And we all like doing that, don't we? So yeah, I'm not surprised it got flattened. It's a shame, but no, I can see it. I can see why it would happen. 80-mile-an-hour winds. Wow, that is some fishing. That's some going. That. One of the things I've been doing recently is I've gone to using crimps and IQ on a stiff rig. You can see my gear here. So this is a rig that I've knocked up myself, although it's not my idea. That uses a Ronnie clip. So you can focus on it. It uses a Ronnie clip on the end, and just a simple crimp, small crimp, size 0.5 I think it is. And I think that's quite a nice, presentable little rig. I quite like that, nice and tidy. And I quite like these Ronnie clips too. It'll hold a 15mm pop-up on the ground, so obviously I'm going to check, but I quite like that. Just come running out of my bivvy then. I had a beep on my left-hand rod, which is over in the corner. So all of a sudden, I sprung into action, got here, nothing. But could have been a line of that. So if that is the case, maybe there are fish moving around now. Who knows? But it was a liner nonetheless. I'm quite happy with that. That's a good sign. That's a good sign for me. It certainly woke me up. I was just finishing making my rigs, and all of a sudden, beep beep. Woohoo! It's the excitement, isn't it? It is the excitement. Never lose it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, finishing my rigs. Okay, let's try it with a 15mm pop-up. Yeah, that's how I want it. That's perfect. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, that works for me. Middle rod this time. Yeah. Still could have been a liner, but that's still a good sign. That's two. Left-hand rod, middle rod. Could be onto something. More action in the last hour than I've had in the last 48. Well, that's my next 3 good to go. 2 pop-ups, 1 bottom bait, a little bit of goodness with each one. Let's see how we get on with that. I'm going to give it till 2 o'clock on the zigs, and then I'm going to get these out. So I've got about an hour's worth of light left. I've now changed over all my rigs, and I used a bait boat for all 3 because I went all 3 tight to the bank. Who's that? Who's that? Whoever you are, I'll call you back. I'm filming. Okay. Yeah, I used my bait boat. I went all tight to the bank, 3 locations. I didn't want to try and cast it because, one, I probably wouldn't have got that far with a PVA bag on it anyway. So I've done everything I can. I'm not changing my baits now. That's it. So until tomorrow morning when I reel in, they're staying out. It's not that I'm being lazy, it's just that I've tried everything else and I still haven't seen a single sign of a fish. Now, the bailiff said earlier that all the other lads are saying exactly the same, so nobody's seen any signs of fish in the last few days. So they've proper switched off, which is, it is what it is. I don't care, don't mind. Recognise this? Hey! Yeah, I remembered to bring it this time. This year, 2004, we're back at Norton Disney again. Paul's organised another do. We've got 2 lakes booked exclusively. So as soon as we get the web page up, I'll do a little video again, and you can contact the website, and then you can get your name down, get yourself booked in. And after last year's turnout, I wouldn't hang around too much. I know Dave and Andy are coming this year as well. I'm going to try and get the Carp King down, Mr. Christopher. He had a good excuse last year, which is fair enough. So let's see how many of you we can get down there. Norton Disney, great venue. I did enjoy it, to be honest. And it depends on how many people it is. If there's too many people, I won't be able to get you all in. But I will definitely try and get most of you in on the video. All right. So until then, while I've got a last hour's worth of light, I'm going to have an early dinner. I just called that number back, by the way. It was the clubhouse here and wanted to know if I wanted any dinner. What a time, what perfect timing was that? Unfortunately, because I brought my own, I don't want to waste what I've brought because it'll go off. So I said, no, thank you very much, I'm okay. Nice of them, though. Well, I'll have one quick last check of the rods whilst I'm in daylight. Make sure everything's alright, make sure everything as it should be. I haven't messed up anywhere. And then I've got that might loosen up slightly. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. Come on, let's have all three of you lit up. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? 3 at once. 3 35-pounders. Yeah, be alright. Right for giggle. I think I'd definitely get wet feet. Whew. There we are. So we're good to go. Everything is as it should be. Just losing the light now. This camera, you won't see it. Not yet. Well, it's time to batten down the hatches and settle in for the evening. Maybe even get the fire on over in the corner there. I've got plenty of gas, keep myself nice and warm for tonight. I think it's going to be a little bit chillier tonight because of the clear skies. So, yeah. Yeah. Come on, let's have it. Let's have it. Last night, come on. That's how to put that bugger away. Well, that is the Pui packing up, pretty much taken care of. I've just got my rods to bring in now, so I'm calling it a blank, obviously. Don't care. Tough water at the best of times, but I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed my 3 days. Fishing floodwater, never a good thing to do, but those are the dates I've got. So, and like I said at the beginning of the video, I wanted to try out my bait boat and try my new rods, and I've done those, and the fish would have been a super duper bonus as well. So I am not disappointed in the slightest. Yes, of course, having the fish would make it much better, but it doesn't make any difference. I have just really enjoyed the last 3 days. The only thing I've got to do when I reel in is, because I've used my bait boat, you tendency to get twists in your line. So what I'll do is I'll take the pod out of the water, turn it round and walk all 3 lines up the bank and get the twist out. That's the only way I can do it. There is another method that I have used in the past, which is just tying a stone in a PVA bag or mesh and just casting it out and letting the mesh melt and then bringing it in. But just walk it up the bank. There's nothing on the bank that's going to cause any damage to the line. So yeah, get my twist out if I need to, get the rods back in the bags, and away we go. Thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you've never come to Glover's, I think it's a great water. I really do. It's a tough water, but yeah, I'll definitely come back here. Yeah, definitely fish this one again. I do like it. So that's it. Wrapping it up. See you next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.